Hi everyone, and welcome to another speed paint video. So for this video, I am redesigning an old drawing that I drew back, I think, in middle school. I think I'm gonna say 7th grade. And I think this is like one of my first 10 digital drawings I've ever done. And I'll share more backstory about this drawing. But I decided to do kind of like a redraw of an old pic because I did that for a recent Draw This in Your Style challenge. And I had a really, honestly, a really good time doing it. I didn't record the process because I had no intentions of sharing it, but I should have, because I was using Clip Studio Paint, which is the program that I'm using right now as well. And I was really enjoying the painting process and the sketching process. A lot of the brushes on Clip Studio Paint I really like it. Initially I was a little bit overwhelmed because I'm used to Paint Tool Sai, which has a lot of more, more simple tools, but Paint was just perfect. It had everything that I wanted, and if I wanted to make adjustments, it made the right adjustments after, noodling around with it. But I'm in the process, or I don't know when this video will be posted, but at this time, I'm in the process of hosting another Draw This in Your Style challenge. And I thought, why not do the same thing? Pick something maybe even older and try to redraw it. So that's what I did. So I visited my old DeviantArt account, because that thing still exists. And I picked this lovely drawing, and I'm being very sarcastic, okay? I'm gonna be very honest now. I could care less about this drawing. I don't even like this drawing. And I remember posting it feeling like 70% satisfied with my work, but I was 110% excited to post it in the first place. So when I was in 7th grade, I think this was the year when I finally got my first tablet and my first photo editing software for at the time, though, it was kind of like Photoshop, which nowadays Photoshop, everyone realizes that, Photoshop is the worst thing to use if you want to draw. Use something else instead. And at the time, I think, what is it, my tablet, my pen tablet at the time, I think it was like a Genius brand or something. I don't think they exist anymore, but it was basically as big as a mouse pad, and it was $30 on eBay. And I remember being so excited for it. I think it only lasted for like 2 years, and then I had to actually buy something else. But when I first got that, I was super excited because I also invested and got Photoshop Element 7. And thinking back now, I remember when I asked for those two things for, I think, either Christmas or for my birthday, and I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so expensive. And it's funny because I did post a video a couple weeks ago stating that I bought 120 plus markers, which is already more expensive than the software. So my idea of expensive and cheap art materials have definitely changed since then. But when I bought the tablet and the Photoshop Element 7, I felt so professional. I felt like I'm getting there, you guys. I'm gonna be like my favorite artist online, I'm gonna be so cool. And just like every young artist, you'd think that all of the cool stuff that you're getting will all of a sudden make your art look amazing. So that's what I felt. And so when I first got Photoshop, I remember using it and just feeling so frustrated with it because everything I wanted to do didn't happen. And granted, Photoshop is not built for drawing. It's built for really photo editing. So I didn't realize that, so I was getting frustrated. But I kept at it, and I kept working on it. And so I started, I think this one, I remember reading the description for it. I think I was super proud because I was like elevating the dish or something. Like I was trying something new, and I think I was using the blend? No. The brush? Some type of tool that pulled the colors. If you can see, it looks very kind of like, it's as though like you put color on a piece of paper and you kind of like bled it out by pulling it. I don't know, I forgot the tool, but I think it's the blur tool. But on Photoshop, it's not really a very good blur tool. And this is what I got. And once again, I remember when I posted it, I wasn't very satisfied. I was like 70% satisfied. But, you know, I just wanted to draw something and I didn't know what to draw, and I had no idea what I was thinking, and I had no, like, I didn't pre-plan anything like I do now, and so I pulled some random character together. I put her in like in a tank top that basically folds like a like a paper bag or a plastic bag, and then I apparently put her in a sweater or cardigan that's rubbery and blocky. But you know, at the time I'm like, wow, I'm like amazing, you know. But now that I look at it, it's just, there's so many wrong things to it, and so redrawing it and redoing it in my current style and fixing the issues that I had more than 10 years ago, you know, it's like super satisfying, because you can't be like ugh to it too much, because you know that's where you started. You know, you start from the bottom, and I'm really proud of all the improvements I've made, and as you can tell, I'm literally tackling this artwork in a very different way. If you've seen some of my work at this point, you know that I'm kind of like I do both traditional and digital, but I haven't really posted any digital speed paints in a while, so I thought, why not? Let's record this one. So I decided to record this one, and I also streamed this process, but because Twitch kind of like deletes your videos after a couple of days, I decided to save this one because I'm actually really proud of the process, because painting is something that I don't usually do. It's not my forte, and I remember having the most difficult time kind of like overcoming the stress that comes along with painting, or that goes along with painting, because it literally is painting. There's so much patience that goes along with it, and if you laughed at my my pun, yes, but if you cringed at my pun, also yes. I don't really do puns. My friends do puns better than I do, but that's my attempt. But yeah, this painting is not my forte. Once again, it's not. But I like doing it. Bit by bit, I'm slowly enjoying the process, and I think it's because Clip Studio Paint is built for digital painting, and I've been having a much more positive experience using this program compared to Paint Tool Sai. I have painted on Paint Tool Sai, but the amount of brushes and brushes that I can use are quite limited on Paint, and not on Paint, on Sai. But if I use Paint, man, I'm getting confused. If I use Clip Studio Paint, there's just so much more variety that I can play around with, and it's just more fun. I also even challenged myself even more by painting everything all on one layer. I'm not as afraid to do that now. I think it's just because of practice and lots of experience that now I feel super comfortable doing that. But I remember feeling a little bit of like the fatigue in the process, because it is time consuming and it's a true commitment to paint through. So when I was streaming, I think I started at I think right after I finished the sketch. That's when I started streaming. Once the sketch was done, I streamed the painting portion, and I think the time I think the full amount of time that I used for the painting process was 4 hours or so. And so it was a solid sit down, and I'm glad I stuck through with it, because I don't know, I'm not going to call this as my best digital painting, but I will say that I learned a lot from it, and it's because I played around with different methods and different, I don't know if it's style or stylistic choices, but I definitely did play around with it because I was enjoying the process. I really liked painting, surprisingly enough, even though I'm not a painter, and I will admit painting is not my forte. I was having a good time, so I wanted to explore new things, and so I did. So when I was creating this character and redrawing her, I had to rethink, like, what was my brain thinking back in the day when I was in middle school. And in truth, because I remember I had no idea what I was doing with this character. I could care less who this character is. There's no name for this character. It's just some random girl. So when I was trying to recall back, I was like, okay, well, granted there's no inspiration back then, because obviously I really didn't care about this character, but what can I do based off of the character design right now? What inspires me? And when I looked at the hair, I noticed her head is huge, like really tall, like bulbous. And when I saw that, I was like, well, we definitely need to fix that. In addition, I think at the time too, I was very into, like, what was it? Layered hair. So the first thing I looked up was kind of like short, not pixie, but shoulder length, kind of like rocker edgy looks. So I took those pictures, and they're from Pinterest or Google, and they're just random pictures, and I placed them up just to inspire me. And I honestly really like how the hair looks, shape-wise, and even in the painting, process as well. I really like how it all kind of like works so well with each other. And I also tried a new style of painting for the hair as well. If you notice, initially when I did all of like the groundwork where all the colors are going, I had the same kind of like initial desire to create kind of like the zigzaggy highlights for the hair, but at some point I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna pull the hair into chunks and paint the chunks and allow the colors to speak for me, and like tell the audience which chunks of hair are in the front and which chunks of hair are in the back. And I was kind of getting into that when I was like coloring the lower half of the hair that I just went over, and it inspired me to really kind of like just get into the clumpiness. And so I tried to fix that on this side right now, and it's something clicked. I finally got like my momentum, my technique. It was getting much more refined, and bit by bit I followed through with the idea and just got rid of the original like zigzag highlight stuff and just went, this hair is gonna be clumpy. It's gonna be in chunks. And I've seen this style used by other artists before, and I really, really like it. It's like, I don't know if it's my style, but I definitely do like it. So I explored with it on this character. Will this be consistent in my art style after today? I don't know, unless I really commit to it and I really do it. But did I refine the skill set and the tool to use this style in the future? Yeah, I definitely did. I think that now that I've done this, if I ever want to do another painting and I wanted to do it in clumps like this again, I could do it, And I think that's my advice to everyone, from this video. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, my art style is constantly changing. Oh no. it's okay if your art style is changing, right? Because the more you try new art styles, the better your toolbox gets. And the more diverse you are as an artist, the more ways you're going to explore your own style and find your style. So don't just stick with one thing, try new things all the time. So my toolbox in this case got bigger, and I added a new tool to it. So it's okay to try new styles. And if you find yourself changing styles all the time, that's fine. Just keep drawing. You'll find something that you do like. So apart from that though, if you notice her eyes are kind of yellow. So about that, remember how I said like the old drawing was kind of like one of my first 10 digital artworks ever? Well, it's very true because I forgot to fill in her eyes when I drew this, and I remember noticing this after I posted this drawing. I forgot to fill in her eyes so it'd be white, and when I did this really cool gradient background in the background, it filled in her eyes. And once again, I didn't notice this until I posted it, and I remember looking at it, getting frustrated with myself, but then I realized I already finalized the picture. All the layers have been merged together. There's no way for me to fix it. So I was like, no, I'm done. I am done. I'm not doing anything. It's gonna stay yellow. And so with respects to the original artwork, I did the same thing, and I kept her eyes yellow. The reason why it's yellow, I've got none. But if you got a good story, if you want to say like, hey, her eyes are yellow because like she has magical powers, or she's like a mutant, or she's high, I don't know, whichever one you want to use, you can give her a backstory. You can give her like, you know, a background, a name, an age, a personality. You can add all of that into the comments. Go own this character, because I didn't when I made her. You know, I could care two poops about this character. So if you want to like give her life, then give her life. And I think that's what that's one of the goals that I had when I was redrawing her. Because, you know, back in the day when you're young and you're like drawing characters, your characters will be very stylized, yes, and be very like aesthetic according to what you think is really cool. But at the same time, your characters will lack so much character. Though, and it happens to a lot of us, right? So this character had no character, has no personality. Her pose is already very awkward because it's like one shoulder is up and she's trying to do a hip thing. But if you're leaning on your hip, unless you're doing like a Vogue photo shoot, you know, it's like your shoulder actually like relaxes down a bit. And it's not stiff and up, but I did that back in the day, and I kind of still do that now, but it's not as awkward. So when I was recreating the pose, initially I was like, okay, I'll put her hand on her hip, I'll do the same thing, but then I was like, no, this is not working. No, that off-shoulder cardigan is telling me she's relaxed, she's chill, she's too cool for school, you know? So I gave her more of like hands in the pocket type look. And I think it worked. I always say like I think it works because for the time being, my vision of my art and my abilities right now, it is what it is, you know? So if it works in my eyes now, I think it's great. But maybe, I don't know, in 5 years, possibly I'll look back at this and think, oh, no, that did not work at all. Ugh. But we'll see. It'll be what in the future. So for now, I'm just gonna say it looks good. And I remember at this time of the process, I kind of overdid it with the face and the hair. If you notice, I spent a good chunk of time on that because I got really inspired. I was like, I need to see your face completed. So I spent a lot of time on that face. And I remember once that was done, and I did all of like my lighting, my 3-dimensional lighting things that I do, I went to the clothes and I was like, I don't want to do this. But I did anyway. There's a lot of missed moments in the process. And I think I was getting tired at this point. But, you know, you gotta push through. And I was able to like fix the folds and the shaded areas to the best of my abilities. And you know, I like it. I think the coat itself, the cardigan or whatever you want to call it, really got its shape better once I added the fabric lines into it. I think that's what gave it a lot more life, and the folds made more sense. So at this point of the process, while I'm like filling things out, I didn't really like it. I felt like, are these folds making sense? Are they looking like the ones I drew over 10 years ago? But once I, you know, really finalized these sections and got the folds down, and I added the, the sewed in lines in the fabric, I was like, yep, it's fine. It's actually pretty good. It makes sense. These folds make sense. And so another big improvement, right? From over 10 years ago. But now I'm kind of considering, or like wondering with you all, have any of you tried redrawing an old picture, or have any of you looked at an old drawing that you were super proud of and now you look at it and you're like, ooh, cringy, you know? Or like, ugh, man, I was very confused back in the day, you know? Because I get that feeling too, right? And if you find those drawings, have you ever tried like actually redrawing them? Because if you haven't, I actually recommend it too. Try to go out and like find some of your old drawings and like just spend time to redraw it. Because even though when you look back at your old art, it seems cringy and it's kind of uncomfortable, and like you're learning a lot about your weird self back in middle school. Once you remake it, there's this level of satisfaction that you're just kind of like, you just want to clap to yourself. Or like be Shia LaBeouf in that one meme where he's like, it's black and white and he's super serious and he's clapping. It's that feeling, because sometimes you don't realize the improvements you make and the progress you make as an artist. And so when you do stuff like this, it's what is it? I think the word's blatant or obvious show of improvement. So if you feel kind of maybe down about your art, I think you should just redraw any of your old stuff, like your super old stuff, because it's going to make you feel really, really good about yourself. And I like doing this. It was actually pretty fun. I'm also really happy that I toned down the acid green. I still kept it. It's still there. I still picked and kept elements of the original drawing that defined the original drawing, but I helped make the colors work and complement each other and have a real conversation, instead of just being like at your face, screaming at you and saying, look at me, senpai. Okay? It's I finally made this character a character that I feel happy with and super proud of. But yeah, so like if you have the time, pick something old that you've done, try to redraw it, because this satisfaction, this joy, it's a good feeling, and it makes you want to draw more. And if you feel like you've been in a block or in a rut of some kind, do this, because this might inspire you to do more, or try new things. So we're actually like heading now to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching and so much for your comments and your support. I do hope you guys like this video, and if you have any other ideas for me in the future for future videos, let me know in the comments below. And once again, thank you. Have a wonderful day, night, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.